Right. Hello, everyone. We are live once again. We're going to go ahead and wait for everyone to return back. Um, Unfortunately, for you to find the second video, it's going to be the first video is going to be a little bit tough. It's on the Instagram. It's in IGTV. We were not able to get a preview put onto our Instagram for other people to see it. So when this second hour ends, we will most likely be putting this out as a post, or we'll try. I don't know what's currently going on with my Instagram, but we'll definitely be trying that. Yeah, let us wait for everybody else. Hope everyone is doing well. I'm going to be reaching out to... We left off with Jano. Right. Let's go and get Justin on right now. Also, she's here. All right, there we go. Boom. J-Gnome is back. We're gonna take it. We're gonna open up with the questions. Corey, yes, we could test the audio. Hey, J-Gnome. You're Corey right now. You're unable to join because you're doing it from a computer. The computer doesn't allow you to join, unfortunately. So you would have to join from the phone. That's what it looks like. All right, no problem, for sure. We're gonna go ahead and bring on J-Gnome. Hey, yeah, we are definitely back. What's going on? How are you?
Nothing much,
Here
man.
we are.
How you, bro?
I'm good. A little mishap happened where I was posting the first video and it happened to it didn't reach the feed like I was hoping for it to do. But threw me off a little bit. But I'm still here, and I guess I'll just have to promote extremely hard, So I guess that's gonna
come back, bro. You know you got this. You got it.
Yeah, I think because the first video was extremely good. Extremely good, And the place I'm at, I think they turned up the music a little bit. So I'm kind of fighting against that, too, because I don't want no copyright infringement on me.
Yeah, you already
I just faced that.
They be looking. They be looking.
Yeah, I just went through that in one of my interviews. Oh, my goodness, we weren't able to get the interview out. So, yeah, man, But I think I'm far. Can you hear the music? No, right?
Yeah, I can hear parts of the music. I can hear it.
A little bit?
Just a little bit, yeah. Are you good? Like it's not interrupting me or anything. I'm chilling with it.
No. I totally understand that, but I'm like, can you hear it so much that you think that? Because the first video was perfect. The first video was perfect. I didn't get in trouble for the first video, which is
no. You're perfectly fine and everything.
Yeah.
And probably gonna try to say this, but you can also just change the pitch just a little tad bit. It's a little undetectable.
Oh yeah, but I'm at a coffee shop. I have no control over that. You know what I'm saying? So. Thank you. I thank you, Corey. I do need all the promotion that we can get, especially for the first video. But we're going to go right ahead and continue this and move forward with the session. And I wanted to ask you, how do you use body language to communicate? Thanks, Chris.
Oh man. Ooh. Sometimes I get a little. I think because the job I work at, I kind of just try to camouflage my body language, especially when you work in IT. You got to be real careful with that. So, it's all of my facial expressions. I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes, I hate to say this. Sometimes everybody makes that petty face, or your eyes light up. But I try to do the best to camouflage. Now, if I'm rocking with you, if I'm cool with you, one of my old friends used to say it's in my eyes. Someone used to say it's all in my eyes. So I guess I have to wear glasses from now on so I can get away with certain things. But that's I don't know, man. That's a really tough question. I don't want to get caught on live with this. Let's the next question.
That's a life question. Yeah, I do have some tough questions, man. I like to challenge individuals. Bring out the best in them. I think the second question is, when was the time that you had to use code switching?
Getting cussed out at my job. I had an old boss going off, and she asked me what the F is wrong with me and going off and popping off and stuff. So I had to use a certain way of to express myself in the most professional way. So I did a lot of code switching then. Became a pro at it that day.
Became a pro at it that day.
It's too exposing, man. These questions, man.
Nah, man. It's all about your life experience.
I know. It's like I like to cloak it. You know, you trying to cloak through life, put it all in the music. It's like, most of the time I use code switching at work. To be honest, I mean everything's kind of like work with code switching. When I'm off of work, I can be as unprofessional as I want to. Not like in a rude way. Like I'm not snapping on people or anything. I'm a pretty nice person. I'm chill. But I use mostly code switching at work professionally, and especially being a black male in America, you have to be very careful with code switching, body language, and everything, because certain people do judge you for the way you look. I've had people who try to touch my hair really awkwardly. I had people say something about if it's a black shirt that I wear, how come it doesn't say white lies or anything like that. I've had those times where you have to switch up code language and body language for those type of people that perceive you that way. But outside of work, we'll have a J. Cole type conversation, and at work I have to humble it. Oh, just a second, just a tad though, just to be real cool to get out. Hated everyone online, by the way. I know I saw some friends on here. Romana is so funny, and Terrence.
You know what I'm gonna do real quick before we go into the next segment. Thank you for answering the questions. I appreciate it. Excuse me moving around so much. People might be like, "Oh, this is not professional," like that.
No,
but I want to stay true, and I also want the background to be kind of quiet, so you know.
Yeah, I understand definitely. Someone said I'm a strong man. I couldn't do it.
You said what happened?
My friend Romana said I'm a strong man, and she couldn't do it. We know Romana.
Yo, so I'm going to go ahead and thank you for answering the questions. Grace, are you here? We can't wait to see your presentation that comes up next. All right, so that's what we're going to do right now. Much love. I can't wait to see your performance too, for real. Yeah, tonight's going to be a good night. Yes, indeed. Let's get it. Hey everybody, here we are once again. I had to move around because I felt like inside was a little bit too loud for me personally. So we're outside, you know. So Rosa Sunflower, you're asking where you can find the music. There's a music segment that we added to Campfire Session. It is live. Make sure you got some water outside like I did. Yeah. Tell me about it. I mean, there's plenty of water outside. It was just raining. So I'm going to go ahead and bring on Grace. Hey, Grace.
Hi again.
How you doing? You really, you really did your thing. Like, yeah. You going first was like a heavy hitter. That was crazy.
I don't want any of the rest of you guys to feel intimidated or anything, but I literally like teach this all the time, so it's like I already had it prepared. No.
You did great, man. Your insight was amazing. I think everybody's insight was amazing. But when you started, because you're an expert in the field, it gave everybody a foundation also to work off of, is what I noticed too, which was great. You know what I'm saying? So, but without further ado, I would love to see what you have to present to us today.
Okay. Well, I'm going to teach you guys some stuff about ego development. So I'm actually going to flip my screen and just have you guys look at things so it makes more sense. Let's see.
Okay, yeah, this is great. Oh, this is amazing.
Okay, so I had set this up earlier and I wanted to make...
Hold on, we can't...
It's okay if you can't see. You don't have to see the other side. That's all right. It's not important. Okay, I just want you guys to see this. All right, so there's a reason why I want to show you guys this picture. I want to teach you the difference between ego mind and wise mind. And that way you can understand what I'm going to reference back to here in a second. But so the brain actually develops in 3 different stages, right? And so when you're in the womb, the first part that is developed is the cerebrum here in the brain stem. And these are really, really basic forms of the brain. It, controls motor skills, just, kind of make sure you're alive. And then the second stage of development is this part here. It's located in the temporal lobe. It's called the midbrain. And again, it's just very basic. It doesn't really do much. It's all survival mechanisms, very basic emotions like aggression and things like that. These three places here, those first stages, this is your ego mind. And when I say ego, ego means not just the westernized understanding of ego like pride. Ego is more fear. And the reason why it's fear-based is because these parts of the brain are responsible to keeping you alive. You don't really have much complex thought there. You're just kind of like trying to survive and make sure you don't die. So this is when I say ego mind, I'm referencing this. Now, ego development is the process of going from nurturing your ego mind to nurturing more of your wise mind. And so when I say wise mind, I'm pointing towards these areas, the occipital lobe, parietal lobe, and frontal lobe. I mean, they're all fancy words. You don't really need to know all of them. Basically, the most important part is this one here, the frontal lobe. And this is where you have the ability to think logically, to kind of predict consequences, and be able to kind of be authentic and let down your guard and become more congruent, more transparent and authentic. So what happens is most of our lives, our whole brain develops over a long period of time. Actually, it doesn't fully develop until you're 26, just around. So think about like the first third of your life, you're spending reinforcing a lot of belief systems and perspectives that are really distorted because you're only thinking out of this part of your brain. But over time, as your brain fully develops, and let's say you have access to resources, or a lot of it is access to things that you have the ability to kind of start to develop this part of your brain. That is the process of going from ego mind to wise mind in the process of self-actualization. And so the reason why I bring that up is because the more integrated and self-actualized you become, the less you're going to need those ego defense mechanisms like saving face, code switching, having to change between different work environments or with friends or when you're on or off work. So just real quick, any questions about that? Because I'm going to show you something else here in a second.
Yeah, hold on. Let's see if the audience has any questions. Does anybody in the audience have any questions about what was just stated just now? I know I just seen some people join, so I want to give everybody a second to possibly possibly ask any questions about what is even being presented at the time in case you are joining late. Okay. I'm going to give them approximately let's give them like a couple of more seconds here.
Okay.
Because I got the clock running. I can see it for sure. All right.
No worries.
So go ahead, continue.
Yeah, so I'm going to pop over here, and this is to my Instagram.
Oh.
You guys can follow me on, it's at Grace Guffey, LMHC. I didn't write an article about this, but I did post it the other day. So by the other day, I mean June.
Oh, hold on, Grace. We do have some questions for you. So,
okay.
One lady asks, okay, yeah, there you go. All right, cool.
So the question is old brain. Yeah, so the lizard brain, old brain, that's what this is referencing here. It's just our very primitive, basic forms that make us human, right? And so the other question is how do these areas get damaged? Well, I think it depends on the damage that you're referencing. I think if you're talking about emotional damage, that can come from various traumas, whether it's really big traumatic events or just small, subtle interactions that resulted in some sort of negative reaction. Other things could be physical damage, playing sports, TBIs, traumatic brain injuries, things like that. But here's the really important thing to know about the brain. There's a thing called plasticity. And what that means is that the brain has an amazing ability to rebuild and create new neural connections that allow you to flourish past traumatic events, which allows you to self-actualize. So even if you've experienced a lot of things, it doesn't mean you're broken and you can't heal that. That's the amazing thing about the brain. So I hope that answers some of that.
Very good question.
So yeah, really great question. So let me go into this now. So when we're talking about code switching and saving face and things like that, and we look at what's going on in our country right now and the political divide and the mass suffering we're seeing, especially in the Black community, I think we can look at this and hopefully this can give you some insight into why we have such a clash going on. And hopefully this can instill some hope for all of us in some way. So I'm just going to go over these stages just real quick. Impulsiveness, impulsive is the first stage. This is often you see when you're kind of younger, but you're really just focused on your physical needs. Rules are poorly understood, and you exploit others for your own good. So you're really just kind of focusing on your own needs. Like if you grew up with siblings and you fought over things, that's a great example of this. So you're just focused on you. The next stage is self-protective. This is also often in childhood where you're able to delay immediate gratification, but you're still pretty self-serving. So this is where a lot of defense mechanisms come in, or kids are trying not to be the good kid or the bad kid. And then we go into the third stage, which is kind of near the same time frame, but maybe closer into adolescence, but it's the conformist stage. And this is where belonging is crucial. There's a lot of rigid thinking. You can't really think in ambiguity. You can't really think in between things. It's either all or nothing, this or that. But a lot of it is who's right or wrong. And this is really important to look at because a lot of what you're probably seeing are people who are stuck in this stage. No matter if they're an adult, they can still be stuck in this stage where they all look at everything as right or wrong. So it doesn't even matter if you have some sort of logical argument against what they're doing is wrong. They just want to be right. And that's why you also see a lot of people getting not addicted, but they cling on to some of those conspiracy theories as well. Now, the next stage is where it changes. You start to shift, and that's self-awareness. That's when your relationships are based on feelings rather than behaviors. You also have the capacity for self-consciousness. So what that means is maybe you're really aware of all these things that are good and bad, and now you start to repress yourself, and you repress parts of yourself. You overcompensate by being perfect. But unfortunately, it's good to be self-aware, but perfection is impossible. That's an illusion. And so it does create a lot of suffering. And so if you move through that stage, you can move to the next one, which is conscientious. This is still some right or wrong decisions, but the biggest difference is a capacity for guilt, the ability to feel remorse and concern for others. And this is where empathy starts to develop. And empathy is essential for vulnerability and our ability to evolve as human beings. And this is what we're missing so much so in our individualistic society right now. So hopefully if you move through this, you go into the next stage, which is individualistic. And this is where you have more tolerance for differences, you're able to be mindful, think more long-term. And then as you continue to flow through that, you may find yourself in the later stages of development where you become more autonomous, where you release the need to be perfect. Maybe you stop searching for material needs and you're actually more focused on fulfillment. And you recognize the complexity that is human behavior. You have a tolerance for ambiguity, and you have a deepened respect for other people's autonomy as well. So maybe you have really good boundaries here. You can have boundaries with yourself, boundaries with other people, able to say no, or able to have conversations with people who disagree, right, without it becoming a fight. And then the last stage is integration. This is the pinnacle of ego development, and we all have the capacity to get to this, even in our lifetimes. And this is where you have self-actualization, you have broad empathy. Your ego exhibits wisdom. And what that means is you work both with your ego mind and your wise mind. You recognize your ego mind, but you use your wise mind to overcome maybe these automatic social rules like saving face or having to be some sort of thing that society tells you you're supposed to be, but you can't. You allow yourself to be all of the parts that are you, both the things that you love about yourself and maybe the things you're ashamed of. And when you accept yourself and love yourself in that way, it makes it so much easier to love and respect other people. So when you look at these stages, you probably can see now, hopefully, that there's a lot of us who are here, and then there's a lot of us who are here, and we're in the middle of the road, and we're in the middle of something that is great change. And I know that there's so much suffering right now and sadness and the needless murders of our brothers and sisters out there. I mean, I think it's easy to lose that hope, but I want to help you see this, that change never comes from complacency. Change always comes from discomfort. And I think while you can do this in your individual life, I think we're doing this at a much slower pace as a collective. And I think we're on the brink of change. So we have to continue to evolve and help our fellow human beings evolve as well. And I'll just end with this. Just imagine if we all evolved like this together. Just imagine what society would be like then. And so I'll leave you guys to that and answer any of your questions you have.
Yeah, does anybody have any questions? We are definitely taking questions. Sometimes the questions take a little while to come through, so we'll definitely be patient. For sure. You did a great job, by the way. I was, again, I had to take a sit back. I was like, wow, this is really good. I'm extremely happy you agreed to come on and do a presentation.
Yeah, me too.
This is really good.
Thanks, Justin. Yeah.
yeah, they're throwing hearts at you right now.
Much love to you guys too.
Oh. So how was,
I know that was a lot of information, but
Oh no, for sure, for sure. It was definitely a lot of information, but it's a lot of information that people needed to hear. So and your presentation was extremely well done too. And your flow, your pacing, the way that you pace with your words, and the tone in which you speak is extremely well done too. It's easily received. It's very welcome.
Thank you.
So, just like the first time I met you. So, yeah.
I was almost drunk then, but I guess I'm eloquent then too.
yeah, definitely.
My dog.
Oh, okay. You got Buddy in the
Sammy.
background. That's cool. So, if anybody doesn't have any questions, we'll be moving forward. I'm gonna give another minute or so until we continue the process of moving forward with Campfire Sessions for today.
Yeah.
All right, everyone. Oh, Grace. Before I go though, I'm gonna need everybody to promote the first one. For some odd reason, Instagram is. Oh yeah, here he goes.
How can people fully develop when they are more ego versus wise, or vice versa? Okay. Well, I mean, it's kind of what I said before. I think if you have a lot of moments of discomfort where you're confronting yourself, a lot of it is breaking down fearful belief systems. So like, for example, a lot of my clients, I help them break down the belief system of I'm not enough and how that manifests, especially in a romantic relationship. And so I do confront a lot of their biggest fears, challenging people to kind of go into situations that are anxiety provoking and giving them tools in order to overcome it. But in order to shift, you kind of have to get in uncomfortable situations and challenge yourself to respond in different ways in which, you probably would have before, and more in line with your value system, more in line with your authentic self. And it is a little anxiety provoking, so you kind of have to lean into it. But the more you do, you kind of shed these masks and you just become more comfortable in just being who you are, whatever you define yourself to be. And the other question is how do people identify if they need help growing through the stages? Well, that's a good question. So there's actually 5 stages of change. Just real quick, I'm not going to explain all of them, but it's pre-contemplation, contemplation, preparation, action, and maintenance. So basically, at some point, when you're not in denial about things, maybe you have enough consequences in your life that are going to force you to change. That's when you can ask for help, whatever that may be. So you just have to get to a period of discomfort in order to change. And you have many of those times throughout your life. You have many life transitions. So you're bound to feel uncomfortable at some point, because every time you go into a new chapter of your life, you're going to have to adjust and feel very uncomfortable. And those can be the opportunities where you can kind of work on yourself and try to work through and evolve through your ego development and maybe get closer to integration. And the other question, Justin, to answer, what are some of the tools? Some of the things that I do, I focus on mindfulness-based cognitive therapy. What that means is I teach mindfulness tools, breath work. I help people integrate psychedelic experiences, reading books, contacting other healers, self-help. I also offer online therapy courses. So there's like a bunch of different tools, but the core of it comes from mindfulness. You have to be able to become the observer of your ego mind in order to evolve past it. So mindfulness is the key.
Oh my goodness. Are there any more questions from the audience? Anybody has any more questions? If not, we will be moving forward in Campfire Session.
I do want to say real quick,
Oh,
I have a lovely iPhone that doesn't allow me to do my headphones and charge it at the same time. So I forgot to charge before this, so my phone's going to die here in a little bit.
okay.
So I might have to jump out of here when it does, but if I don't get to come back, I just want to let you guys know, if you need to contact me or anything, just go straight to my website, which is graceguffey.com, or you can just reach out to me on Instagram or something. So
If you want to put that in the comments before you go, that would be great.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'll just put it in there. So if you guys have any other questions or if you need help with anything, just reach out. And I normally am pretty good about it. I'll get back to you within at least 24 hours.
Yes, you will, for sure. Yeah, we're communicating with you. Thank you for coming on. I'm going to go ahead and move forward. I think somebody has one more question. At the very least, we'll take this last question and then we'll move forward.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Corey, because I know you mentioned you're going into coaching, and I think you said that you got certified, so you're on the right track. Yeah, so a lot of this, you can go through coaching. You can kind of go through certification courses in order to know these principles. But your question, is there a malpractice of this theory or practice? I'm guessing what you mean is there's nothing negligent about it. It is evidence-based practice. Mindfulness cognitive therapy has been around for a long time. It's been studied. It's under cognitive behavioral therapy. If you do want to go into coaching, you may want to consider getting some malpractice insurance and try to kind of be a part of some sort of ethical board to make sure that, when you're helping someone, you're coming from a framework and you're in a place that you can actually help them. So hopefully that answered it.
You did very well. Thank you once again. I do want you to save at least a little bit of battery life if you have to reach out to other people.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming aboard. We appreciate it. And we're going to go ahead and open the floor for words from the audience. All right.
Thanks so much,
I will
guys.
speak with you later. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hey everyone, it's been great so far. The show has been amazing. I really did enjoy the session. I was wondering if anybody had any questions or anything that they would like to come up and say, as the people who have definitely been with us and observing it. So if you want to come up, just send a request or let me know, to send you a request in case you possibly can't do it, and I'll be more than glad to go ahead and do that. I'm going to give it about probably 2 to 3 minutes, and then we're going to move into our next section of Campfire Sessions, which addresses something in the media that recently took place that I was a little bit bothered by, for sure. And yeah. Oh, thank you. I appreciate you tuning in, Harlem World Palm. Thank you 100%. Everybody who tuned in, I want to say thank you. And Grace just dropped her information in the comments section. If everybody would like to take a look at what she has going on, including her website, it is now available for you to see. All right. So, give me just 1 second, everybody. Just want to make sure that everything is running smoothly. All right. Well, there we go. So it looks like everything is good so far. All right. Well, moving forward, I wanted to bring up the features again. and ask them a question. So recently in the news, there was something that took place with Nick Cannon. I'm not sure if people saw that as of recent. It's kind of raining on my end right now, so if I tend to like move a little bit, I am sorry. But recently, issue took place with Nick Cannon where he lost Wildin' Out, and he was also fired from Viacom for speaking his opinion on the Jewish community and their impact in media and the world. So what I wanted to do was ask everybody a question. I want to ask everybody, when is it a time to speak up and when is it a time to be silent? What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and start by bringing on Justin, and then we're going to move forward from there. Hey, what's
What
going
up?
on, Justin? How you doing, man? This has been great. I love this session. It has been great so far. So what I wanted to do was reinstate a question. In the media, there was. Thank you, Grace. Thank you. Thank you for taking the time out to even come aboard. In the media, there was just yeah, right. Let's pause and give a hand
Yeah,
clap,
man,
right? For
it was
sure.
dope.
It was definitely
Dope.
dope. It was definitely dope. In the media, Nick Cannon just got in trouble. This was not too long ago. This was about maybe a month and a half ago, if I'm correct. And I was confused at first as to what was truly going on. And so, word is that he spoke out against some of the things that were taking place in the world of media. And when he spoke out against it, some people had mixed emotions about, why did he do that? You put yourself at risk. And some people also feel like if you do have a platform, then it's your job to step up and address these issues. So, what I wanted to do was ask you, when is it a good time to be silent, and when is it a good time to speak up, in your opinion?
Yeah, man. Well, first, shout out to Nick Cannon. I mean, and I've actually worked at Viacom, so just like the topics of today, going back there, it's like, wow, you didn't recognize in the moment what you saw and how things operate and that type of thing, but
Right.
it is kind of wild. Um, but I think it's really one of those things that each person has to answer for themselves. And granted, we could say, oh, in this situation, you should speak up, or oh, in this situation, you should speak up, or this situation, you shouldn't say nothing and mind your business. In a world that we have social media, everybody has an opinion, everybody has a platform, whether people are watching or not. Um, you can really say what you feel and somebody can find it. So I think that puts more
Mm.
pressure for people to speak up. But if you're not really saying true things or being authentic or that type of thing, you just talking and put fuel on the fire. You know what I mean? So I think it's like scripture said, there's a time to speak and there's a time to be quiet. You know what I mean? And I think you really
Hmm.
have to know that for yourself. But thinking about a situation at work, I'm I I've always been the person that I see things. I'm an observer, and
Mm.
I guess I have the what's the word gift to have things in order. So I've been on a lot of jobs where I see things out of order, and I remember being younger. It's like I'm not gonna say nothing. I'm not gonna speak up about it. I don't want to be the one to say something. But then as the time goes by, you keep seeing the same crap. You keep seeing that things are not changing. There's this spirit, this inner working that is pulling on me. Like, okay, look, if nobody's gonna say something, I gotta say something.
Hmm.
And so I finally got into this. I say habit, but I think since the first time that I spoke up about something at the job, I found myself later being that person that speaks up and everybody's quiet. At least, when you're in front of the boss. And when we are amongst ourselves as coworkers, everybody complaining, but ain't nobody saying to make a change to what needs to happen to be more effective and productive at work. And
Mm.
so I think everyone has that intuition, that spirit. It's just, are you going to pay attention to it? Are you going to be obedient to it? You know, no matter what it is. And I think I don't know the whole inner workings of the Nick Cannon situation, but I think that's likely what happened. Is that
Hmm.
he was like, "Yo, I can't not say anything." I think he's probably fully aware
Hmm.
that it could go the wrong way. You know what I mean? Um, but you know, that's the other thing. When you speak up, you got to be prepared
For the
to die
backlash.
for it. Like, yeah, like
Yeah.
you know, I say die because it's an extreme thing, but we know people have lost their lives because they spoke up. People have gotten arrested because they spoke up. You know what I mean? So
Right.
I think you do have to value or evaluate that side of it, and I think that's another reason why people choose to be silent rather than, oh, this is a moment that I shouldn't say anything. You know, and I think you got to kind of dissect that part of it too. It's like, am I being silent because I don't have anything to say, or I'm being silent because I'm afraid of what's going to happen to me? You know?
Right.
So yeah, man.
100%. 100%. I love your perspective. I'm gonna go ahead and bring up. Let's see who we have next. I'm gonna go ahead and bring up Corey next, and then I'm gonna move over to Jay Noman, and then that'll be the end of this second hour, and we'll be going into the third with performances. So everybody, please stay tuned.
But
I love what Damien just said. Damien Lewis. Nobody wants to lose, so they win by remaining silent. That is a very good. That's a very good point and observation. I love that. Yes, yes, yes. All right, so let's move forward. Is the music in the background a little bit loud?
it is a bit, but I can still, I'm
Make
zeroing in
out what
on
I'm
you.
saying?
So yeah.
All right, all right, all right, all right, all right. I can't really. Unfortunately, it's raining outside, so I'm trying to like deal with
Oh,
this
okay,
the
okay.
best way I can. But let's move forward. Boom. Thank you. Go right here, and let's go to see if I can go outside.
Yeah.
Hey, what's going on, my man? Doesn't seem like it's too bad out here, you know. Yeah,
Hey,
plenty
man.
of water out here, man. Just to let you know, plenty of water. I mean, as you can see, it's raining.
Hey, I'm outside too. Yeah, I'm on this side as well.
Plenty of water. I'm about to actually get wet a little bit, but it's fine. I'd rather have good audio, right? So, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and continue. So, when do you think is a good time to be silent? When do you think it's a good time to speak up? I know that you was listening and hearing about, the news of what took place with Nick Cannon. So,
Yeah, man, it's hard to say, honestly. Just figuring out back on what the gentleman just said, it is a matter of, choice, really. Um, but I think it's also a matter of influence, because, like you said, the media and the opportunity is bountiful for us to express our opinion. But what does it matter in a sense, right? Regards to power, influence, etc., being able to move a number of bodies in a direction towards a specific initiative. I
mm,
think it's very difficult, For myself, like, I put up a post, like a quote, but, what was the effect of that other than me just putting it up to express myself? Like, I'm just now encouraging the narrative, but I'm not able to, again, move bodies in the direction towards that initiative, you know? I think it
mm,
is cold, it's messed up, the whole situation that happened with Viacom because, because humans are involved, set in their ways, the interpretation is skewed, and that little complex right there is kind of what I believe led to that result of him, potentially losing the rights to his own company. That's just, oh,
it's crazy, man. Crazy,
yeah.
man. Yeah, I was a little bit affected by the news. I was a little bit in awe. I was like, oh man, this is crazy.
Yeah.
Like, it's almost, ah man. The owner of Wild 'N Out, he was very close to, I think, receiving the full ownership of Wild 'N Out. He started it, but he wasn't the one that owned it. So I found
Yeah.
it very interesting, and honestly, the time that he chose to speak up in, was a very crucial time for people to speak their truth. Especially with all of the injustices that were taking place at that current time. So sometimes you have to make some real tough decisions. Even with HVMAN, I had to make a couple of tough decisions. I know in the future there'll be some tough decisions that I will face, but we will see what happens when that time comes. Signing you off, I will be bringing on Noman again, and let's see what he has to say, everybody. You ready? Here we go. Oh, sorry, Corey. I felt like I cut you off right before when you was about to say something. We will be back for closing remarks 100%. And here we go. I also would like to bring on a surprise guest if he's willing to come on, but I will surprise him. It always looked like you were just doing something and the camera landed on you while you was doing something. I think that's so funny. My man was like, I was like, okay. Yeah. I was like, all right.
Just went right with it.
All right, my man. So I see you over there. So I know you've been listening 100%.
Yeah.
You definitely been a continuous viewer throughout the whole entire session. And I wanted to ask so when do you think is the proper time to speak, and when do you think is the proper time to be silent?
Man, that's really tough.
I know.
It kind of comes to the point of power too. There are some people that are so powerful they can say anything they want without any consequences. One of the things that you were talking about, mentioning that he was getting ready to purchase something. He was getting ready to have exclusive rights, basically.
Yes, he was. Yes, he was.
That's another thing you got to look at. When it comes to certain points, when a company feels threatened about a certain individual gaining that power. Nick Cannon has been in the game since he was a teenager. So he studied the game, at Nickelodeon. You see how they work their artists out. See how they work their actors out, their actresses. So when I look at Nick Cannon as a person, when he made these comments, even if these comments were even older comments or other comments mentioned from other people, he's also a black man in America. And he also has to think about the point as a black man in America, as soon as you start owning something and you start threatening, not make it racial, but as soon as you start threatening and putting your hands on certain powers, money, or accounts, they will find a way to cut you out.
Right.
Sometimes I don't know. I feel like the Nick Cannon situation is very unfortunate because he is a very brilliant mind, but unfortunately, like I said, it seems that every time a certain black individual starts to gain power within this country, you're looked at as if you're a threat. So what they do is they wait for the moment that you make another comment on top of one that you made when you didn't have as much power back then. Because it's the power of influence. If you look at Malcolm X, we don't celebrate Malcolm X as much as we celebrate Martin Luther King. Why is that? Well, Malcolm X theory has already proven that it exists today. And you look at Malcolm X on TV when they tried to crucify him in his comments, and he always fact-checked them right on live interviews. But every time I look at an individual, like a black individual starts to gain power, unless you're playing in the game or you have a contract or you're partially owned as a slave to a certain company, they will find a way to strip that power away from you and put you back towards the bottom. Doesn't mean Nick Cannon will be hurting. It doesn't mean Nick Cannon could be suffering at this point. But unfortunately, when you start to gain power as a black man in America and you go past 40 acres and a mule, you start going past what they put in the Bible, you start going past what they put in your mental capacity, then people will find a way for you to make one comment. Media will take the comment, stretch it out further than what it is, and destroy you and make you paint you as the villain. It's almost it's like Nick Cannon is basically a killmonger that called out the truth. If you look at Black Panther, there's two different perspectives of the black man. It's the one that was forgotten and the one that got things that were still there waiting for him, resources. Killmonger was never a villain. When I look at Nick Cannon, he wasn't a villain in what he said. Unfortunately, he took the sacrifice of speaking his truth. So when I say is there right, if you feel it in your heart and feel like you have to say it, it's hard when you have a family too. If you feel it in your heart, you need to say it and you need to let it out, and that's because that is what you were called to do. Then I say it. Sometimes these sacrifices are meant because a generation has to build up from it. If we're at the gain back power, we did lose heroes along the way, unfortunately. That's how I probably went on a tangent, but that's honestly how I feel about the situation. And it's going to happen with you. It's going to happen with me. Kendrick already called it out. He already called it out on To Pimp a Butterfly. It's a fan.
No, go ahead, continue.
Are you still a fan? It's a fan. Are you still a fan? When Michael Jackson gained a certain amount of power, what happened to him? When Prince gained a certain amount of power, what happened to him? They're not buying out. Some people just lock their stuff away and then they take the sacrifice and go. Some people, they just destroy you. I'm not going to call out another individual because I feel like it's too controversial to say that individual who almost had the power to buy out a whole network. But Unfortunately,
Yeah,
that tends to
no,
happen.
I understand exactly the individual that you speak of, and for obviously safety matters, and
Hmm.
not to be too controversial. But
Yeah.
I like the way that you kind of included me in there because I live with that every day of my life,
Hmm.
knowing what I'm building is extremely independent, and it's going global, and what what choices I will have to face in the future, as a black person that owns something that people thought black people could not create,
I guess the best
so.
example, I'm sorry, I probably Kanye you right there, which is a great example of someone who talks about truth. Kanye, um, one of the best examples I can say when it comes to certain things like this, if you watch the banned episodes of the Boondocks, the BET episodes that called
Yeah,
out the truth of
yeah.
that and where that influence came from, and
Jesus.
that's where I cut off because I still got to build a career. But that's how I
I
look at
still gotta
it.
build a career.
I still got to build a career. Like Jane Oman didn't make it yet, but when you look at individuals, look at certain people. Kanye is a very great example of someone that no matter what he says, if he says something about Nike, something else is going to be twisted out. That's where I stopped because I feel like the Kanye is another controversy thing. But
Yeah, it
unfortunately,
definitely
there
could be
are
very controversial.
unfortunately there are individuals that speak for our generations, and unfortunately, when you start building an amount of power and you start to put your hand inside of a cookie jar that may have a bug sitting there to bite you, you have to be careful. But I do feel like if it's in your heart and you feel like that's what you were meant to do, sometimes people are born to be sacrifices for a generation to build up. Nick
Yes,
Cannon
indeed.
probably was just that person that stepped up, did what he needed to do, and his power and his influence will have generations to come. That's all I got.
100%. 100%.
He just
Like
won't
Nipsey
rap
also
battle
once said.
Eminem. That just won't happen. But the thing is, but I
and
don't.
like and like Nipsey said, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon.
It
So,
is. It takes
and we
time to get there.
continue to push forward. Yes,
You can run
indeed.
as fast as you want to. The faster you try to do things, the faster you can find yourself out of it. If you steadily take your time, it's basically the turtle versus the hare race. Some people get cocky when they're running so quickly ahead that they feel like they're leaving people behind. Some people
Mm,
gracefully make it there, make and plan out their actions. And when they get past the finish line, they figure out they actually made it before the other person because they reevaluated their lives, the steps to come forward. Someone else doesn't think and they just move sprinting ahead and they never think about things that are passing them by to reevaluate. That's how I look at life.
mm, mm.
So,
Mm. And that's what makes you a great artist, right? So we about to see what you got for us in
long
the
hair, don't
next
care,
couple
man.
of yeah, no worries. We about to see what you got for us in the next couple of minutes here. You know
Appreciate
what
it,
I'm saying? So this has been great. I've been loving this session. Thank you for giving your words of wisdom. I
yeah.
definitely appreciate it 100%. And we'll be back to see your performance. All right.
I
So
appreciate
we're
y'all.
gonna
Much
go
love.
ahead. Much love. So let's hop off right now. Boom. I want to go ahead and if anybody else would like to join us, please let me know. I know that we just had some people come in. If you don't know what this is HVMAN Campfire Sessions. HVMAN is a multimedia platform where we encourage people to find truth in another person's perspective. We do interviews. We do have a clothing line, and then we also do have we also do have what we're experiencing right now, which is Campfire Sessions. What I'm gonna go ahead and do is see if this brother would like to come on and speak and possibly introduce himself, though it's late, and see what he has to say. So we'll see if he accepts the invitation. If not, then we'll close down this hour with some closing remarks, and we'll move forward from there. Let me give it like maybe 2 more minutes. Let's see. Boom. All right. Let me go ahead. And if there's anybody that would like to come on, please let me know, and we'll bring you on so you can speak your piece 100%. By the way, it was a great session. I really did enjoy it. I learned a lot from this session, actually more than what I thought I would, and I was extremely surprised. So, also, by the way, next month we will be having the world's resources. We'll be bringing on people from around the globe to talk about different resources that are in Africa. We're trying to get somebody from Australia. We're going to even reach out to a beekeeper to see. Oh, okay, no problem, no problem. I'll try. Sure, no problem. Yeah, so stay tuned for that. That's September 7th, 3 p.m. So, oh man, what's going on? Nice to finally meet you. You know, through here. Yeah, turn it around, I guess, if you want to. Oh, there you go. Boom! I can hear your audio's in there. You're there. So we have everything. I did see you type a comment, and I kind of wanted you to expand on that comment that you put inside the comment section concerning the question of when is it time to speak and when is it time to be silent. You know, especially when you have power.
Oh man, that was a good question. I've been enjoying the session, man. It's really been awesome to see
Thank you. Appreciate it.
black people coming together like this, man, to really talk, our version of politics and get this stuff off our chest. That question is kind of like it's hard. It's really hard to say because for us, we can say what we want to say. Where we are right now in life and in our careers, we just blurt out whatever we want to say. It may come back around to bite us in the behind, if we ever become, bigger than what we are. But for the most part, based on where you are on that hill, if you do have something to say, sometimes you have to sugarcoat it. You have to be politically correct, or you just have to bite your tongue. We see this a lot with Lecrae. Lecrae has done this throughout his career, especially with the Christian community. When he transitioned from this like CH8 type music to more of like, rap, like regular rap.
Mm-hmm.
Then he got a lot of backlash from the Christian community about that. But he stood his ground, But the thing about Lecrae, he made his own lane. He was in his own lane. He created his own path. He trailblazed for a lot of people. But for the most part, he was able to express himself in a way. But when you're owned by a company, you have to get okay from the company. You have to be okay from the company, or you just have to be a rebel about it. Do what you got to do, say your piece so that you can move on with it. And I think that's what Nick Cannon did, man. He couldn't keep his mouth shut anymore. He's probably been biting his tongue for a minute, and he just woke up one day and like, I'm just going to speak my mind. So, I mean, it's really hard to say, but if you're owned, then you can get disowned. If you create your own path, you can say what you want, when you want, and how you want.
100%. 100%. That's what, yeah, I live that. So, even on my own platform, I am very mindful of what I say and how I present myself. And sometimes I even limit my speech in certain areas, depending on how I feel. Obviously, it's not about me. It's more about another person's perspective. But, I have my own reserve. And one day people will find out where I stand. Hopefully we'll be able to get me on my own show and be interviewed, you know what I'm saying? So people can kind of understand who am I as the creator of the platform. So thank you for coming on at just a sporadic jump, you know what I'm saying? I know that I kind of caught you off guard, but I was like, hey, number one, for anybody who's looking for flyers, very good, very, very, very good flyers that my man makes right here. Please introduce yourself to the crowd a little bit since I did bring you on. For sure, a short intro is great.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Damian Lewis is the name. I'm a graphic designer. I love the art, so I love designing graphics. I do a lot of like album artwork. I'm also a musician. So, beginning in the musician world, understanding how much these graphic designers charge for album artwork, I used to feel like it's really absurd. So I kind of like threw myself into it, and I've really improved over the years. And the goal is to help musicians get their music out there. I have the best prices in the world for album art, and also I help market your music as well. So I'm really versed in the music and the graphic design career path. So if anybody needs anything, hit me up. Yeah, hit me up. I got you.
100%, man. I would definitely be in touch with you. For anybody who wants to see his work is on our page right now. The flyer that he made for Justin Artist was made by Damian Lewis. And so we'll be moving forward outside of this. Thank you. Somebody asked, what about logos?
Oh, yeah. Flyers, logos, websites, business cards. I do it all. Yeah, I do it all.
Nice, and his work is amazing. So, like I said, once again, please check that out. Yo, your flyer game was really cool, man. Really cool.
Appreciate
So,
that. God is
uh,
good.
yeah, that's good. I will speak with you later. Thank you for coming on at such a sporadic whim, and yeah,
Oh yeah,
I look forward to pleasing the audience and you with these performances that we're about to have next. All right, so here
absolutely.
we go. See you later. Now, everybody who's been watching so far, thank you for tuning in. We're, like I said, this is the first time that we're moving on for 3 hours. Um, we're just going to go ahead and hop into the performances next, to be honest with you. I'm going to end this session. We'll be back within the next 5 minutes. I will speak to everyone later. Peace. And remember, we are all human.